This episode is brought to you by Monkey Nutrition. Talk to me about dogmas and and getting past your own dogmas. You first set up to differentiate yourself from the world, and then you end up becoming a slave to them. Tell me your thoughts on that, and how do you avoid it?
All right. So first, in my eyes, you must choose a dogma. There has to be a leading thing in your life, that dictates the method, that dictates the goals. People confuse these three things very often. And for example, they will set up goals that have no relationship with the dogma. They're related to the methods. Then they will fail achieving the goals because the dogma is not connected to these goals and the methods are not producing the right results. And then they will change the methods instead of realizing maybe they should change the goals or change the dogma. It's very difficult to do. Changing your dogma takes guts. It takes bravery. It takes courage because you live for long periods of time with ideas of who you are, and then you realize that's not who I am, and can be a very dark moment.
What's an example of one of your dogmas, or what was an original dogma?
Capoeira, for example. Okay. I'm a capoeira guy. That's my dogma. That's my thing, Right.
And then your goals and methods would be what?
Then I was one of my goals was to move really well. Okay. And I realized I don't want to just move capoeira really well. I want to move really well. But then the methods that I used didn't produce the results because I kept on holding to the capoeira dogma, trying to kind of bring all these tools of movement, these methods of movement into the capoeira context. And if they didn't match the capoeira context, then I wouldn't use them because I'm the dogmatic capoeira guy. And that was a huge dogma for me. Another dogma is, it can go very deep. I'm Israeli. I live in Israel. I'm very, patriotic, etc. Another dogma might be, I need a relationship. It's a must. Everybody must live, in a relationship, and etc. It's always there. And then at a certain point, you realize, who's the master? I'm not the master. I coined the dogma years ago. It became my master. And now I'm behind the dogma instead of the dogma being a servant to me. And still, to replace that dogma, you must have a new dogma.
Right.
So eventually, you kind of are very careful in the way that you form your dogmas. And I was very careful. So after 15, 16 years in capoeira, I didn't make the next mistake of being an acrobat, being, a dancer. I realized I love movement on all of its shades. Utilitarian movement, artistic movement, breathing, any form of mind-body connection. And if it's just kind of a Descartesian existence from the head up, a very cognitive, then I'm not so interested. It's always about the connection to the body. And that's why I use that dogma. And I think it's a good dogma to have. It's wide enough for me to shift and move. And I have room for movement, literally, inside this dogma. And I can change what I do. I'm not the handstand guy. I'm not the gymnastics guy. I was never a gymnast.
Right.
I use whatever works for my movement dogma. So the tools, the methods are borrowed from a lot of these isolated aspects. But my dogma is bigger.
This week on London Real, we have astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I wake up every morning astonished that an astrophysicist can have 1.7 million Twitter followers.